Now we get into some of the how-tos. And guys, this is where, if I can make a request, you got to put your mental track shoes on, because this is where the rubber meets the road. So we're really going to talk about 3 systems coming up here right now. The way that I see network marketing is you have, brand new people who don't know anything at all about anything. They're just new to the industry. So the first kind of system is get them in, get them paid. And using a system of where a dud can do it to a stud, a dud can do it to another dud. You don't need to be some expert. So that's the first one. The second is once you've gotten them in, gotten them paid, kind of move them along. Keep them on this path of moving in the right direction. The third step is really help them develop into a leader. Help them become the person that can go out there and actually build a successful enterprise here inside of this industry. Now the challenge, right, is you kind of have to keep them separate. Like if you try to do the third step, like help them become a leader on day one, you're just like giving steak to a baby. When you have a new baby, you can't be like, hey, there's food in the fridge. See you later. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really do that. Like you kind of have to like, give them baby food. So that first step of really helping get somebody in, get them paid, the first step I think most of us would agree is that blueprint. So the blueprint is that foundational piece of the business. When every single person comes on board in the company, they go through a blueprint launch. Now, how quickly should you do a blueprint launch with your brand new agent? 24 to 48 hours. So understand, every new agent that comes on board in your business, picture like they have a expiration date on their forehead, like a milk carton, where it says, like, if you don't get me paid, at least give me a blueprint within 24 to 48 hours, I'm already halfway out of the game. And that's the truth, right? Because in that time frame, they've talked to a couple people, maybe they got a good response or didn't, but if they haven't had any type of experience inoculating them on what they're doing, how to do it, and getting them started, then they're already halfway out the door. So when we go through the blueprint, the actual blueprint that comes in everybody's starter kit, that's what I go through with them, the actual blueprint workbook. And I'll actually sit there and go through like what our core values as a company, what we're looking to create, the story of the Dead Sea, all that stuff, help them understand what the vision, what we're doing. And then when it comes into action, there's really a couple foundational steps that I go through with them. Here's what I do. The first thing I'm going to do when I sit down with somebody at a brand new event is I'm going to just build rapport. I just want to have a conversation with them, right? There's a saying in this industry that says people don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care, and that's really true. Very, very true. Take your time to really just get to know somebody where they're at right now. Well, what do they care about? What are their hot buttons? What do they like? What do they not like? What are their struggles? Whatever. This is huge. So when you're helping somebody get started right here, the first thing you go through is define your why, set your goals. Now here's the biggest thing. This is the big thing for your notes. The average person today can't actually even see themselves making, on average, more than about twice as what they're currently making. So if you start talking to people about making $1 million a month, it doesn't even sound realistic. If you would have talked to me about that in 2007, honestly, I'd have been like, well, why not $1 billion a month? You know what I mean? It's like, if we're throwing out fake numbers, you know what I mean? For me, I wasn't making that much money, but if you were to talk to me about like $4,000 a month passively, it was tough for me to picture, but I could still get there. I can see what that would be like. And for me, it was something I could believe in. People will not work towards something they don't believe they can achieve. Even if you think it's more motivating to you, to them, they won't even take the first step unless they can at least see a finish line. So the first thing I go through with them is really what you want. And if you're listening in on this tape, think to yourself, what do you want? What do you want out of your business right now? Why are you here? Vision for what you're doing is the starting block for any business you're going to start, any enterprise, anything. Right? Imagine you walk out into a field and you see a guy hammering away and building something, and you walk up and say, hey, so what are you building? And he's like, I haven't decided yet. I don't know. You're like, there's something wrong with this guy. Like, why are you doing it? Jim Rohn talks about one of the best things is when is the best time to start something? When it's finished. The best time that you can actually finish something before it started. I'll give you a perfect example. I was so fortunate. My dad and my brother and I built our own home out in Poway in California. My whole family had a big hand in it, but my dad's been a construction guy forever. And I'll never forget, we were living in Mira Mesa at the time, and my parents had bought their first little piece of land. And my dad was so excited because my dad's been a construction guy his whole life. His dream has always been to build a house for his family. Like with his own hands, we wanted to build it. That was like his dream. And obviously, we're all in school. I had graduated already at the time. My brothers and sisters were still in high school and below. And so they weren't very excited about moving in general just because they had all their friends and everything back in their school. My parents bought this piece of land out in Poway, which we'd never lived in, we'd never been to. And the first time my dad took my brother and I to go take a look at the land, we were kind of determined not to be excited about moving. But we go take a look at it, and there's like 5 feet tall weeds in the whole property. So we get out of the car, and we're kind of like dragging our feet like, this is it? Oh, no. See, I knew it was going to be terrible. But we get out on the land, and here's what's so funny. My dad's like beaming with excitement. he walks us out into the middle of this little field, and he starts describing our house to us. And he takes us up to our front door, and he's always like, a lot of people have this big like double door. Ours is going to be a big single door. It's going to be like 10 feet tall, this huge single door. And walk up the stairs, and then my mom's from Virginia. She grew up in Virginia, so her whole thing was she wanted a wraparound porch. So she's like, we're going to build a wraparound porch for your mom. And I got this over here. This is my barbecue area. Check this out. And he's like, tell him about the barbecues we're going to have. And then we walk on the side of this little breakfast nook. Then we come around here, and this is our kitchen. The plans that we have right now, my dad's talking about is like, you're going to cook, you're supposed to cook facing the wall, but we're going to switch it to where the sink's on the wall, and then you're going to cook facing the living room so you can watch TV while you cook and serve out food. And then here's the mantle and this huge fireplace. And we're going to have surround sound right here for the TV. And here, come with me upstairs. And for a minute, it was like we weren't in this field tramping around 5 feet tall weeds. For a brief minute, my brother and I bought into this vision of like, wow, we're in the middle of our new house. I mean, he described it so well. It was almost like, oh, dude, don't step in the fireplace. like walking around. And it was so funny because from that day on, we were excited about what we were building. It wasn't just work now. It wasn't just like, okay, I got to go swing a hammer. Oh, I got to go dig a ditch. No, we're building our house. This is the fireplace. It's the most valuable lesson I ever could have gotten in this industry because that's your why. When you get started in this business, don't start digging the ditch until the house is finished. Build the house out to where when you're swinging your hammer, quote unquote, when you're contacting, when you're showing up, when you're doing the deal, it's not about the hammer that you're swinging. It's about your house that you're building. That's the biggest thing that when I realized in this industry that if you don't have a powerful vision for what you're building and why you're building it and why it's so important that only this company, only this right now, by taking advantage of this, can give you, I'm telling you, you will get knocked out of the game before you can have success in it. Because inevitably you'll go through challenges. In every business, there's up and downs. There's expansion and recession. There's ups and downs. In anything. But you've got to have something that keeps you in the game, that when the going gets tough, that makes the tough get going. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing that I sit down and talk about. Now here's the thing. When I start with somebody, I typically like to start with their first $500 to $1,000. And I paint a vision. Where's that first $1,000 going to go? When you make you $1,000, realistically, is there a bill that's been on your heart or your head? Is there something that's been stressing you out? Is there some debt that's been hanging over here that you want to get rid of? Is there something you've been excited about? Have you wanted to maybe pay off a credit card, or have you wanted to start a vacation fund? You got a kid's birthday's coming up or something that you want to spoil them? Or what is it? What is that first little set of money that we're going to put aside? The next step is, what would it take to buy you your freedom back? How much would that take? And it surprises most people that it doesn't take a lot of money. How much would we have to make passively for you to not have to clock in anymore? And that number is awesome because people see a really tangible, like, if I could just make $5,000 a month, if I could just make $4,000 a month, that would be enough to where I wouldn't have to go out there and clock in for anybody else. And man, living a life like that would be so different. It'd be so awesome. And then I'll paint a little bit bigger picture. I'll say, walk me out 5 years from now. If you could make the absolute dream lifestyle, most money you ever think of in your life. Let's just say, $25,000 on the first of every month hit your bank account. And no matter what you did, if you spent it all, then the first of the next month it was just going to hit right there again. No matter what you did. What would you do differently with your time? Is there charities that you'd invest in? Who would you help? Who would you bless if you were financially able to do it? If all your bills were paid, you never had to worry about your own bills, who would you focus on helping? Would you travel anywhere? If you would, where would you go? Be specific. The thing with this, guys, is don't let people off the hook by saying, well, I just want to make more money. Well, good. Get a job at McDonald's then. You can make more money there too. But think about it. Be specific. What do you really want out of the deal?
There are two big points I really want to take some time to illustrate here, because when I first got involved with this industry, people were talking all kinds of things about becoming a millionaire and driving their dream car. But for me, I had never even had a comma in my bank account. So becoming a thousandaire was a really good goal for me. Here's the things that I did know. I knew what I didn't want anymore. I knew that I was sick and tired of opening up my paycheck after 2 weeks worth of work, looking at the amount and thinking, my gosh, I gotta go do this for 2 weeks again. I knew that Sunday at 6 o'clock feeling at night was like, man, here comes Monday again. I was sick and tired of seeing my family members, have their biggest arguments over finances or having to drop their kids off at daycare because they couldn't take care of them. I was sick and tired of being broke and going to the ATM machine and thinking, do I have enough money in here to be able to pull out this with the ATM fees? All those things, I knew what I didn't want. I would take some time and think about not only what you really want, but think about some things that you're tired of, things that you don't want any more of. That's a huge part of this conversation. And on the side of that also, what are you willing to give up? In this business and in everything in life, if you want to go out there and achieve and have more in your life, there are some things that you do need to give up. The person that says, I want to get in the best shape of my life, but I'm not willing to change the way I eat or go to the gym at all. That's just not congruent. Sometimes you have to be willing to give up what you want right now for what you really want the most long term. When somebody says to me, I want to make a lot more money, but they're not willing to make the investment in themselves or in this business to get started, that's not congruent. They say, I want more time with my family, but they're not willing to sacrifice some time to make way for the business. That's incongruent. So think about it right now. Maybe you're willing to cut your cable. Maybe you're willing to turn your sofa upside down. What things are you willing to give up so you can go up in your business?
So that's the first foundational step. Then we start getting into action. Now in our business too, we want to set actual skincare goals. Take before and after pictures of yourself as well. Being a product of the product is the biggest thing you can do inside of this business. Understand, like I just recently bought a new BMW. And I was shopping back and forth between two dealerships. Chris was actually with me. It's really funny because we were going back and forth to these two different dealerships. And BMW San Diego, the guy that was trying to sell me my car, right, he drove a BMW. There's another gentleman that was a car salesman that drove a Toyota that was trying to sell me my BMW. There was nothing wrong with Toyotas. But the gentleman was saying like, hey, you should get this car. It's a good car. But he didn't have one. The other gentleman that was selling me a BMW had one. And he was like, dude, watch. When you get in this car, when you turn, it's amazing. It's got hugs, it turns. It's like, have you ever eaten at a restaurant and you ask the waiter, like, hey man, what's good? And he's like, I don't eat the food here. And you're like, oh my God, like what am I about to eat right now? This is right? Right? You want to be a product of the product. So that's why it's so important for you to use the products on yourself. Take before pictures of yourself. One of the most important things that you'll show somebody down the road in the business is look at my picture. This is me. This is me now. So understand, that's a key part of being a product of the product. Believe in it. I didn't know much about skincare about a little over a year ago. You should see my bathroom today. You would never guess a single straight man lives in that house, ever. You ever see that movie, What Women Want, Mel Gibson? Right? That's like his bath. He's got like it's crazy. I didn't know about a serum a year ago. Now I know. Right? So set actual skincare goals. Now, let's talk about making your list. This is the foundational cornerstone of the business. Who do you know? By the way, every business on the planet starts with people that you know. If you open up a sandwich shop, who would be the first people that you talk to? People that you know. Would you tell your friends or your family members that were vegetarians that you opened up a hamburger stand? For sure. Because they probably know people that like hamburgers too. People are going to be in one of four categories. And only one of four categories inside of this industry. When I share with them what Secret's doing, by the way, our job is not to sell anyone on doing this. Our job is to show it to them. Professionals sort, amateurs convince. I'm here to just sort, find out who's looking. Now, people are going to be in one of four categories. People are either going to get involved for the product because they want to look better, have the benefits of the product, save money, whatever. B, they're going to get involved for the business and the product and make money with us. C, they're going to give us referrals. Maybe they're not in a place in their life where they're open to anything, but they know somebody who is. Or D, number four, they're going to be what I like to call a hater. Right? A hater is somebody who not only are they not interested in success for themselves, they are also not interested in you having success either. Some of you guys have met people like that. And that's it. But here's the exciting thing. When you meet one of those people, number four, that's a hater, you just say, hey, I appreciate your time. Do you mind if I keep you posted on my success? Cool. And just move on. Some of the questions, what do I say to somebody who's not interested? Nothing. They're not interested. Don't talk to them. Right? Right? So there's that. Now let's talk about making your list. Here's the biggest thing I've found. This is the best analogy I know. When you ask the average person to put down everybody that they know, a lot of the times you come up with a small little list. because you're hearing the question different than what I'm saying. When I ask you, who do you know, in your head you think, well, who do I hang out with? Now that's kind of like the channels on your TV. Most of us have hundreds, some people thousands of channels on their television, but you usually only watch about a half a dozen of them. Back and forth, you go and watch the same channels again. That's the people that you know. If you were to truly add up your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, your extended family, your neighbors, your old classmates, old employees, current employee, coworkers, whatever, church members, if you were going to add up all those people, you would be able to come with a list of hundreds and hundreds of people. If you were over the age of 18 years old and you cannot come with a list of at least 100 people, you have been living under a rock. And we need to help you. Right? Facebook. Facebook is a phenomenal platform to just build your database. Now, most of us haven't intentionally tried to network with all these people before, but it's a great tool to at least get in contact with all these people. So build your database. Here's what you're looking to do. You're looking to get information in front of these people's hands. Now, I want you to understand the power of this industry, because most people think in order to be successful, you have to recruit tons and tons and tons of people. And the truth of it is you do not. Now, here's what's incredible, right? I want to talk about the power of one. Albert Einstein calls the law of compounding the eighth wonder of the world, where 2 become 4, 4 become 8, 8 become 16. This is the magic of this industry. When you go out there and bring me on board, I want you to have the philosophy of a pearl diver. Right? In South Florida, one of the jobs people have is that they're a pearl diver. In fact, there's a gentleman on the team that's a pearl diver. What's funny is let's just say I own a little pearl diving company and I was going to hire Lauren. And I got Lauren on his first day, and I say, hey, Lauren, you seem like a motivated guy. What I like to do for these motivated guys, Lauren, is just put them on commission. Now, here's the thing. You're going to go down underneath the dock. You're going to put oysters in this little bucket. You're going to come up here. Here's a little knife. And your job is to just open them up and see if there's a pearl in it. And when you find a pearl, I want you to just put it in your pocket. And at the end of the day, every pearl that you give me, I'm just going to give you $50. As many as you find. Now, I gotta let you know, Lauren, none of your oyster that you open is going to have a pearl in it. But just, the ones that don't have it, throw it back. The ones that do, put it in your pocket. And at the end of the day, I'll just give you the $50. Now, here's the thing. What if you, as a fly on the wall, get to watch Lauren go to work? And he opens up the first one, and there's no pearl in it. And then he just melts. Just, oh, God. I don't know if I can do this. I mean, I don't know if my parents, I just knew, I don't know if I could be successful, right? And then, or flip side of it, he finds a pearl and he quits his job. He celebrates, right? And he's like, I've made it, I've arrived. No. You'd be like, now the key is, no matter what, if there's not one in it, throw it back. There is, put it in your pocket. Open up the next one. Open up the next one. That's the name of the game in this industry. You're going to write down 100 names, at least on a list. At least. Don't make your minimum your maximum. Some of you can go far beyond that. I know some people that have over 1,000 Facebook friends. Your job is to find out, is there a pearl or not? If there is, put it in your pocket and teach them how to open up oysters. If there's not, throw them back. That's it. Find out. Do you want to get involved for the product? Do you want to get involved for the business? Do you want to just give me referrals? Or do you have no interest in anything, in which case I'll high-five you and bless you and we'll still hang out later? My philosophy on exposing people to this business is, number one, I'm not God. I don't know who's praying for an opportunity. I know people in this business that are in this room right now that are multi-millionaires. I know people that dropped out of high school in this room right now. One of my mentors in this industry was a billionaire with a B, owns 70% of the Cayman Islands. One of my other biggest mentors, high school dropout. So understand, you and I do not know who's at a place in their life where they're open to something. Now, I'm a firm believer that our products are for everyone. Our business is not. In the business, I'm looking for the lookers. If I have to motivate you and if I have to drag you across the starting line, there's no way either of us are making it to the finish line together. I do not drag people across the starting line. You might be able to carry one person on your back, but not two. So that's the biggest thing in making your list. Understand, it is a numbers game, but people aren't numbers. Treat people like people, but don't be emotionally attached to the outcome. Your job is like you're going to take their temperature. Find out. Are you hot? Are you cold? What's your deal? Right? Okay, moving on. That's the name of the game. Now, in building your list, contacting, and inviting, you're going to go out there and expose people to information in multiple different ways. Right? Now, we're going to talk about wow parties here in a minute, but I want you to understand there's different avenues to building your business. Some of you guys know people that live across the state or across the country that you can't even invite over to your house because they live too far away. There are different avenues to share the business with those people. If they do live close enough to come over to the house, invite them to a wow party. Now, in all of your contacting and inviting, understand you want to use a third-party tool to share information with somebody. What do I mean by that? That is anything other than you personally explaining the benefits of our product, business, the whole deal. Now, why do I say that? Why not have you personally be the person that runs out there with your own mouth and you be the expert that sells everybody on why our products are the best thing ever or business is the best thing ever? Years ago, when I got started in this industry, I was an auto detailer. Now, if you got a scratch on your car or some acid rain or industrial fallout, and I told you what to do with your car, you would believe me 100% because you knew that I was an expert in that field. The challenge is if I try to start telling you about too much outside of that, then all of a sudden your belief in what I'm telling you goes way down because I'm not an expert in that field. Now, the best thing that I ever did when I first got involved with this industry is I said, hey, don't judge me. I'm not the message. I'm just the messenger. We have an amazing product video that explains the benefits of the Dead Sea and the products and why our skincare products are the best. How many of you guys would rather have the head of dermatology at UCLA talk to your prospects about our products than you? And I get you to see something other than me. Now, whether you like it, it's not liking it based on what I told you. You're judging the facts. If you don't like it, you're not liking it not because of me. You don't like what the information was. And I'm okay with that. So that's one of the biggest things is leveraging third party versus first party. Now, that's what's so incredible. The products are the star of the show inside of our company, right? Aren't they? And so that's where you get products on people. Now, use that, but I always leverage a third-party system. Now, in that conversation, understand that there's a conversation called high touch versus high tech inside of exposing people to information. Now, there's advantages and disadvantages to both. And this is something for you to really understand inside of getting people in front of information as third party, right? High touch is an environment where someone gets to physically touch, they get to see, smell, hear, right? They get to be in that environment where they really experience the products. In that environment, your sign-up ratio will be much, much higher. What we call that is the law of averages. In baseball, if you strike out 7 out of 10 times, you go up to bat, 7 out of 10 times you're out, pay you $4 million a year. That's the law of averages. Now, in our business, you want to find out what your own batting average is. When you talk to 10, how many do you get? Talk to 10, get 1. Talk to 10, get 1. Talk to 10, get 2. That's it, because you're getting better, right? Who can get better? Anybody, right? That's the name of the game. As you go out there and actually get people in front of the information, your goal is to get them in front of the information, see something besides you. Now, there's ways that you'll get better at doing that, but in a high-touch environment, your average or batting average will tend to be a little bit higher. In a high-tech environment, now high-touch, you have to be there. You have to show it to them. They got to touch it. They got to smell it. So the speed of the exposure is slightly less because you might not be able to personally do 15 wow parties a day. You might not personally be able to sit down with 15 people at a Starbucks and get them to touch and feel and see all the before and after pictures in one day. But our webinar, you might be able to get 15 people in a day on the webinar. Now, the webinar, they don't get a chance to touch and feel the product, but the speed of it is very, very quick. Now, here's the exciting thing about it. If you know someone that's long distance, that is a phenomenal, phenomenal tool because you can't sit and touch it with them. Now, here's what you want to do is I like to move people from a high-tech to a high-touch environment. I like to get them from seeing something on a webinar, and here's basically what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to filter the people out that are looking. I'm looking for the lookers. Picture recruiting like, let's say I was Jerry Buss, the owner of the Lakers, and I hire Brad as my talent scout for the Lakers. And I tell Brad, hey, we need a new shooting guard. We're looking to scout somebody. This guy has to be at least 6'5" in order to play. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to be holding open tryouts. I need a new shooting guard at least 6'5". Now, Brad's going to run around and start asking the question around town. Hey, are you 6'5"? Are you 6'5"? Are you 6'5"? You're going to get some funny answers. I might be 6'5". Right? Right? I was like, what do you mean, bro? How tall are you? Like, we call that a qualifying question because here's the deal. If somebody is 6'5", does that mean that I'm going to let them play for the Lakers? No. All it means is I'm going to let them come to tryouts. Now, if somebody's not 6'5", they're 6'4", but they're super, excited about coming to tryouts. What does that mean? Nope, game over. No tryouts. You're not 6'5". Inside of our industry, we call that a qualifying question. The question I like to ask somebody is, hey, listen, are you open right now to making more money on the side of what you're doing if it doesn't affect your schedule? That is a money question, by the way. Are you open to making more money on the side of what you're doing if it doesn't affect your schedule? Now, if somebody says yes, does that mean we're going to let them play on the team? No. If they say no, game over, conversation over. There is no need for me to talk to you any further about Secret. Why? Because you're not open. You're not 6'5". Period. I have no need to talk to you anymore. About this, at least. We can go hang and do whatever else. Most of you guys are trying to get people in your business. What you need to start letting people in your business. I'm asking them, are you 6'5"? Yes or no? Well, maybe it depends on what. Let me hear this. Are you open right now? Yes or no? I am. Perfect. You have to have understanding. Where we're going right now, what we're about to build internationally, what we're headed to is a place of complete wealth financially and massive time freedom. That's where we're going. Everyone else that we know in our lives right now, how many people do you think are beating down our door every day trying to help them become wealthy? None. So here's my posture, because a lot of us when we get started in this industry, we think, well, I don't know if I have the background, I don't know if I'm the right look, I don't know if I have the right education, I don't know what it is, but the truth of it is, if that person that you're sharing this information with wants to get wealthy, you are probably one of the only options they have. Even though when I got started in this industry, I was young and I was broke and I had no education and no background in this industry, I realized I was the only person that was even trying to go get wealthy in my little community. So I had the attitude of, listen, you may or may not like the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I am, but if you want to get wealthy and get time freedom too, you're probably going to want to come with me. Right? That was it. So that's the attitude that you need to have in building your list and going out there and sharing this information with people. They want what we have. That's it. In fact, they need what we have more than we need them here. That is the attitude that I have. Right? And if somebody doesn't see that, forgive me if I don't try to beat my own head again, try to convince someone else to get wealthy. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. If somebody doesn't get it, I'm like, well, see you later. You have to understand too, thank God everybody doesn't see this. Can you imagine if everyone in the world was wealthy? It'd be terrible. I just had a delicious lunch outside. If the guy that made it for me was wealthy, he wouldn't have made it for me. That's the truth. Thank God. How many of you guys plan on taking all your own trash to the dump every week? Thank God for garbage men. They come to your house. They pick it up and take it away for you. Wealthy people don't do that. Right? So understand, if people don't see this, thank God. Because then there's more for us. Right? That's my attitude. Right? Somebody's like, damn, that guy's coming on strong. This is what it is. That's in building your list, guys. That is the absolute truth. Now, high tech versus high touch, you want to move somebody from those environments, from high tech to high touch, get them more of an experience with the product. Now, for me, I do believe that's how you help somebody launch a business. Build a list. Also, this is an important distinction to know. When you help somebody make their list, you write down their top 25 with them right on the spot. They write it down and you write it down for two reasons. Number one, you can help them later on. You can help them actually go out there and say, hey, I'm looking to expose this person. Well, have you talked to John? No, I haven't talked to John yet. Okay, because you'll get it. The person will come back to you and say, man, I've talked to everybody and nobody wants to do it. Like, well, how many people have you talked to? Like, everybody. All right, well, let's go through your list. Have you talked to this person? No. How about him? No. Well, who have you talked to? Like 3 friends and none of them. Oh, you've talked to everybody. 3 friends and don't want to do it, right? You want to write down that list with them so that you can actually go out there and go through with them. Here's the other part of it. You will find sometimes people get involved with this business and then within about 48 hours, they end up in the witness protection program and they get relocated to a remote area and change their name. And you go through an amazing blueprint. You're like, what do you want? I want to help my kids and I want time freedom and I'm committed to this charity. And then it's like, you'll bump into them at the grocery store a year later and they're like, oh my God, is that, oh geez, I can't, oh no. Like, whatever. You want to get a hold of the list because even if they leave and they relocate, you still have the contact list. This is the essence of the business. Now, there is a grand opening to every business. Every business has a grand opening. Ours is a wow party. And I'm going to have Jesse talk about really why wow parties are the most effective way to build your business and launching it. Obviously, there's other tools to use later on in your business as well. But in your foundational launch, in your start, Wow Party is the absolute best because anybody can do it. A Doug can do it to a extent. It's fun. It works very, very well. It's lucrative. That's the start to your business, and then we're going to get into the daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly activity. But with that, I'm going to have Jesse come up here and talk about the Wow Party environment and why it's so important.
Secret